Hello everyone, I am Samson Robinson. I am 16 years old.
Hi, I'm Levi Robinson and I'm 16 too.
We're twins. We're here to tell you about bricks.
Let's first tell them about our story, how we became brickmakers.
We were very poor, so our parents tried to find a job on a ship.
But unfortunately, they died on ship because of the fever.
Anyway, let's get started on some bricks.
Oh yeah, we're brickmakers.
Brickmakers are people who make bricks for carpenters.
Yes, it's all coming back to me.
Don't you remember? Bricks are made for foundations.
I remember, and also I remember that bricks are very expensive.
To make them, you must have a deep pit that you put clay in with water, grass, stone, and straw.
And don't forget about drying them in the sun and baking them over a fire.
Ouch, that can be hot. Wait a minute, what would happen if there were no brickmakers?
Well, that would not be very good. That would mean no fancy houses and everything would be made out of wood and metal, and we won't have a job.
To be successful, you need strength, patience, and you must be up to the challenge.
You know, without peepers, we wouldn't be able to make molds for our bricks.
We have a little more information to share with you about life in colonial times. Some clothes that women wore were dresses with aprons.
Don't forget about the men. They wore wigs, fancy coats, stockings, and breeches with tricorn hats, and babies wore bobbies to protect them if they fall.
And some other trades are apothecary, coopers, and gunsmith, just to name a few.
Good day. My name is Esther Hawkins.
And my name is Sayla Hawkins.
Together we're the Hawkins sisters.
What is a glass blower? Glass blowers are people who make glass jars, windows, and cups.
These are some of the materials that glass blowers use.
Some of the skills you need for glass blowing are patience, heat tolerance, steady hands, and strong hands.
Glass blowers depend on printers, blacksmiths, joiners, and silversmiths. Women would either take care of the children, cook, or clean. The children had no TV. However, like us, they had toys. But they made theirs out of wood, yarn, rags, and straw.
Men hunt for turkey, deer, ducks, geese, fox, and rabbits.
Some of the colonial rules were no swearing, you can't make bad bread or bad beer, you can't talk back to your husband or you will take the ducking stool punishment, and of course, no stealing. Most of the food that colonial people ate had some type of corn in it, but they didn't only eat corn. They ate fruit, vegetables, grains, and meat.
This is our story.
Thank you for your time. I'm Rebecca Smith.
And I'm Seth Smith.
And we are the Smiths. We are brother and sister. We are cabinet makers. I'm 14 and my brother is 15. Our dad was a cabinet maker too. My grandparents came here from British New York. One day my dad didn't feel so well, so we sent a letter to the commissary to come to our house. And before he got the letter, he passed away. So my mom raised me and my brother until we were 13 and 14. After that, we got to improve our cabinet and became cabinet makers.
Cabinet making is woodworking, so you can make things with wood. You also need to pick out a certain type of wood for different things. For example, if someone wanted a strong desk, you would pick ironwood or oak. Cabinet makers can make desks, chairs, benches, printers, and stools. They are important because you can't get these things from other trades. They are also important because people need something comfortable to sit on and work on.
Cabinet makers also need lots of tools to make stools, benches, and other stuff. Some of the tools they need are braces, bow saws, chisels, and hand saws.
Cabinet makers have to do a lot of things to make a cabinet. First, they have to measure and cut the cabinet pieces and form a 1.5 plywood. After that, they have to assemble the cabinet and use wood glue and nails to carefully assemble the box part of the cabinet. Then, they have to install the shelf dividers. And last, they have to sand it and attach the doors.
We also depend on people to do good in our trade, like tailors for cushions and the blacksmith for tools. The printer depends on us because we make his or her printer. The entire village depends on us because we make them chairs and tables. You have to have at least one part of experience with working with wood.
Here's some other important facts about cabinet making.
You have to have at least one part of experience for working with wood to become very wealthy with cabinet. Also, did you know that cabinet making was an essential trade in early British North America?
John?
Blacksmiths by Benjamin Bubble and Andy Bubble. About us. Me and my brother are blacksmiths. I am 15 and my brother is 18. We live in Dutch New Netherlands. We were part of upper class, but then our parents died, so now we are lower class, but we took over the family business. What is a blacksmith? A blacksmith is someone who makes things from iron and metal. How does a blacksmith make things? Blacksmiths make things by heating metal until it is soft and workable. Then they can hammer it and cut before it cools down. Blacksmith tools. Blacksmiths can make all different tools. The most common tools that blacksmiths make are sledgehammers, hammers, tongs, and chisels. Down a little loud. This is some pictures of a few of the tools that we made and used. Who relies on us and who we rely on? Coopers and cabinet makers rely on us for their tools and materials, and we rely on the coopers and the brick makers. The end.
Hello, my name is Selma Truth. Hi, my name is Seth Truth.
and wear their shoes with others.
I was born in 1637 and I'm 15 years old, and my birthday is on May 17th.
I was born in 1640, August 30th, and I'm 12. My dad died from a sword. Then our mom died from a horrible ailment.
So we went to work as silversmiths because we were poor. Silversmiths made items out of silver. Silversmiths made everyday tools.
Silversmiths made silverware like knives, bowls, and a lot more.
Silversmiths used hammers, peel cutters, jewelers, files, ballpen hammers, and more.
Silversmiths need to be creative and a good for eye and detail. Interested in crafting and design.
A lot of trades depend on the silversmith because there is a lot of silver items, like bakers need knives.
Silversmiths rely on townspeople to bring coins, cobblers, and general storekeepers.
Colonial crimes include blasphemy, idleness, adultery, and stealing, and the punishments were harsh and swift.
In colonial times, the medicines used were called purgatives, emetics, opiums, Canchana, bark, camphor, potassium, nitrate, and muriate.
Children of many cultures play similar games. Some of today's games and toys were similar to the ones colonists played.
Sometimes kids don't go to school, instead they go to church school.
Working women wore clothing made of cotton, linen, or wool.
Food was really important in colonial times. It was important because that's how they survived.
It's not only about table manners, it shows you adapting and that you are a civilized person. Everyone should learn about good table manners.
Hi, we are the Turner sisters. My name is Rosanna.
And my name is Lydia. We are 13 years old and work as tailors at Turner Tailors and Dresses. What are tailors, you might ask?
Well, tailors make clothing for women, men, and children. We also make clothes for wealthy and poor. We are important because if people didn't have clothes, they wouldn't be able to survive.
Wealthy people have better clothing because they have fancier fabrics. Poor people don't have fancy fabrics available.
Tailors make a lot of their money by making clothes for men, but they still make clothes for other people too. Some of the clothes we make are banyas, robes, cloaks, and wrapping gowns.
Tailors also used a lot of tools to make clothing, like needles, threads, claspers, shears, blocks, and coal-heated irons.
Tailors also needed a lot of skill to be good at their trade. They have to have good math skills to be able to measure, have steady hands, and be familiar with European trends. Tailors depend on a lot of people to be good at their trade. But people also depend on tailors too. Like candle makers for the thread to make their wicks. But we also depend on people like wheelwrights for the spinning wheels, blacksmiths for their tools, and sheep farmers for their wool. In colonial times, we also had punishments. Some of our punishments were getting spanked by brooms, sleeping on the floor, and doing extra chores. There were also games in colonial times, like board games, jump rope, tennis, swinging, hopscotch, the seesaw, leapfrog, tag, and hide and seek. We became tailors when our mom died of an unknown illness. She was the only one who had a job, and she made a good amount of money from it. We used her old apothecary office and turned it into a tailor shop. Here are some fun facts. Tailors were usually men. Babies and children wore puddings, they're like a pillow under their baby clothes, so then it would prevent them from getting hurt. There was also football in colonial times, just not like today. And then here's our glossary.
Hello, my name is Eli Apple. My name is Amos Apple. We are the Apple Brothers. We own the Apple Brothers shoe shop. Our dad was a cobbler and he let us help him. We are both 13 years old. We are twins. But I was born 10 minutes earlier, so that makes me the older brother. Our mom and dad still work at the apple shop, but sadly our older brother Sean died in the war which we were fleeing from. Here are some of the tools that we use. The names of these tools are hammers, screwdrivers, pliers, and knives. These skills are very important for this trade because with them, this trade will be easy. Here is a piece of advice for any future cobblers out there. Be patient because our materials may come later than you want them to. Sometimes we may run out of leather to use for the shoes. Me and Amos rely on other trades in order for our business to do well. One trade that we rely on is blacksmiths for the tools. Here's what other shops look like.
There's a lot of choices for the consumer. You can buy locally made shoes in any size and any style. You can go to a merchant and buy cheaper imported shoes, something that's specialized to your job. If you ride a lot, you probably have riding boots. But if you ride a lot, you're probably pretty wealthy and own a number of horses. Your average individual is not going to prepare boots. Okay.
Here are some pictures of some other images work. These are some other colonial trades.
Silversmiths put money into bowls and silverware.
Silversmiths put money or coins into bowls and silverware. And blacksmiths are people that make specific things with iron, like horseshoes. Gunsmiths make guns for people to go hunting. Cabinet makers don't just make cabinets, they also make furniture like chairs, tables, and closets. Cobblers fix shoes, and we are cobblers and shoemakers. Here is our glossary. You can find out what other words mean. Thank you for reading this. We hope you learned a lot. Colonial Life as Artisan by Catherine Williams, aka Grace Sampson, and Rose Williams, aka Francesca Gallello. And here's our story. Hello, I'm Catherine Williams. I was born on December 24th, and I'm 15. And I'm Rose. I was born April 13th, and I'm 14. When we were very young, our house burnt down. We safely got out, thinking our parents were behind us. But then we had to sail to Dutch Netherlands. And after that, everything got better. A man named Jonathan handed us his shop because he was ill, and we named it the Williams Workshop. Why are artisans important? Artisans are important because we make things that people need to survive. We also didn't have stores like ShopRite, Walmart, or even the dollar store, so we needed to make the things. What did artisans make? Artisans made things that are very useful. They made things such as horseshoes, hoops, pottery, furniture, and other things that are listed. Tools that are made for artisans. Artisans need tools for making important things. They use things such as hammers, axes, gimlets, a mallet, etc. Artisans also made the tools that they used. Skills you need to be an artisan. People needed lots of skills to be an artisan. Here are some skills. As you can see, you need a lot of strength. You also need to know how to work good with tools. Trades we depend on and who depends on us. A lot of people depend on us for our furniture and clothing. The trades that we depend on are on the screen along with why we depend on them. Fun facts about colonial times. Colonial times is way different from now. They had very strict laws. In colonial times, people would live in a one-room house. The rich lived in a two-room house. How colonists got around. Colonists mainly got around by horse carriage or ships. If you were on a trip with somebody else and there was one horse, you would take turns. That is called the ride and tie. What colonists wore in colonial times? In colonial times, women wore bonnets so their head was protected from lice. They never wore their hair down because they were scared of bugs getting in it. Meanwhile, the men wore wigs and long top hats. Their outfit was a shirt, pants that were called breeches, a waistcoat, long socks, and a regular coat. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emmeline Jones. I am 13 years old and I'm from British New York.
Hi, and I'm Rebecca Jones.
Okay. Together, we are the Jones sisters and work at Jones Barrels. Jones Barrels was once owned by our parents, but they died from an unknown illness.
They taught us how to make barrels, so we took over the family business.
A cooper is someone who makes barrels to hold the stuff that colonists need.
A cooper's work has to be perfect because if there was a crack in the barrel, all of the contents would spill out.
Coopers need to be very strong to manipulate and bend the wooden staves. You also need to be careful not to bend it too much so it doesn't break. To do our job, we need special tools like tongs, hand aids, and a chip. Coopers depend on blacksmith, carpenters, and butchers to make their barrels nice and strong. The brickmakers and blacksmiths rely on strong barrels to do their jobs. Almost every colonist has a need for a barrel in their home. They can store water, flour, or anything else they need to put away. Some of our friends helped my sister and I make a short video to show you how we make barrels.
Hello, my name is Marshall Sheets, and I am a master cooper. Hello, my name is Marshall Sheets, and I am a master cooper. Cooper is somebody who makes barrels, round wooden containers made of vertical wooden slats called staves and held together by hoops or rings or bands. What I'd like to talk about today is the process of how cooperage, barrels, or buckets or tubs. Cooper is somebody who makes barrels, round wooden containers made of vertical wooden slats called staves and held together by hoops or rings or bands. What I'd like to talk about today is kind of going through the process of how cooperage or barrels or buckets or tubs are made. One of the first steps is that you have to have high quality, good quality material or wood, and you start off generally with a cooper's side axe. You do what's called listing in the parlance of the trade, where you're roughing out the edges and the taper on the staves. So they're roughing out the angle and the shape on each of the staves with a cooper's side axe. Each barrel stave has to be tapered at both ends and actually wider in the middle of the stave to create the overall barrel shape at the end product. So once the staves have been shaped with the axe, you'll generally go to the draw knives. A draw knife is a two-handled knife. You're drawing it towards yourself, usually sometimes used on a chopping block, but also on a draw bench, which is a foot-operated vise. You clamp the wooden place or hold the wooden place, and then use both your hands to shape the curvature into the stave. Once all the staves have been backed and hollowed, then you'll progress over to a cooper's long jointer, which is really just a large box plane, usually 4 foot in length, set up at an angle. The blade and the plane is flat. The sole of the plane is flat. And the cooper's responsibility is to hold the stave at the correct angle as you make repeated passes across the blade until you have a perfectly smooth surface cut at the correct angle from top to bottom of the stave. Once all the staves are jointed, then you'll proceed to raising up the barrel. So all the staves have to be stacked up into your raising hoop, which is generally the smallest hoop on the container, the top of the barrel. You'll stack all the staves up into this raising hoop. And they should once all the staves are raised up into the hoop, they should be able to support each other. They won't collapse in. Each stave, think of each stave as like a keystone in an arch. If one stave were to be taken out, the entire structure would collapse. But while they're all inside of the hoops keeping them from falling out, the staves, because of how they're shaped, prevent the cask from collapsing inwards.
This is our glossary. Hi, my name is Jared Cotton and I am 16 years old.
Hi, my name is Faye Cotton and I am 17 years old.
We were born in Dutch New Netherlands. Our family came to America looking for religious freedom.
Excellent. To earn a living, we work as apothecaries. An apothecary is a person who helps others when they are sick.
We keep our medicine in glass bottles. We can get medicine from farmers.
Apothecary shops sold and sell ingredients and medicines.
To be an apothecary, you need to be really good at math. We measure ingredients to make medicine. If you measure wrong, someone might die. You also need to be able to handle sight of blood when helping people who are sick.
All different trades rely on us because if they were to get sick, apothecaries would need to help them. We rely on farmers for herbs and other ingredients. We also need a lot of glass bottles to keep them fresh, so glass blowers are our close friends.
Colonial homes were small wood cabins with a fireplace.
Schools had a lot of rules in colonial times. If you didn't listen, you were punished.
The same for the laws of the government. If you didn't follow the laws, you could be severely punished.
Hello, my name is Jonas Thompson. I am 17 years old. My mom and dad died from a rare illness and I have no brothers or sisters, and I am a gunsmith. I am very important because I produce guns for people. Guns are very important because we need them to hunt for food and also to protect ourselves. In order for anyone to be a gunsmith, you need to have specific skills. To be a gunsmith, you must have steady hands. You must also be able to hold a hammer, and you need woodworking knowledge. That means you could work with wood. Tools you need a ball peen hammer, armor's wrench, roll pin hammer, and Allen keys. What trades we rely on? The trades we rely on are a silversmith and a blacksmith. We rely on them because we need material from them. These are some tips. The most important tip is to have steady hands. Here are some pictures. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Jehu Smith, and I am a wheelwright. I came from England. I am 16 years old, and I was born in 1601, and I love playing games. I also work on a farm. Why is my job important? We make wheels, and we deal with metal, wood, and iron. We produce wheels to make traveling easier. Tools are needed in our trade, like an adze, chisel, a hammer, and spokes are very important in our trade, also mallets. Trades depend on us like coopers, and we depend on the blacksmith. These are some games in colonial times. These are also some punishments in colonial times. Bye.
Hello, we're Smiths and we make candles. Being a candle maker is
was, in colonial times, there was no electricity, so people needed candles.
Keep going. Candle makers need a large kettle, a wooden paddle, cotton wicks, and a drying rack.
To be a successful candle maker, you have to be patient, good at math, careful, and nice to the customers.
Interdependent relationships are with the tailor, butcher, blacksmith, and beekeeper.
Houses in colonial times were small with wooden frames filled with sticks. The holes were filled with sticky dough from clay, mud, and grass. The roof was made from dried grass, and if you had windows, they were covered with paper.
In colonial times, people did not own a lot of clothes, but tailors made clothes out of wool. Men wore pants-collared breeches, and all of the women wore dresses. The wool made us itchy.
In colonial times, they played jump rope, tennis, seesaw, hopscotch, tag, hide and seek, and leapfrog.
Our food came from the crops we grew at the farm and animals we raised.
The Printer Job by Remember Smith and Phyllis Smith. Hi, we are the Smith sisters. We are 14 years old. I am Phyllis Smith, and my twin sister is Remember Smith. We were born on November 16, 1658, in British New York. We came here from fleeing wars in Europe. In school, my class that I do is trading class, and my sister also does trading class. We met two girls in the road. Their names were Catherine Williams and Rose Williams. We have a mom and a dad. They got into a fight and went their separate ways. Our dad got sick a lot, so he went to a doctor. Our mom was an apothecary, so she went to work far away. So we were home alone. Our dad worked at a printer store, but he always got sick there, so he had to take a break. We got bored and wanted to write the news for fun. We ran down to our dad's printer store, but when we got there, it was a Cooper's store. A lady came out to us because she thought we needed help. I explained that our dad once worked here. She said that our dad sold that place to them. I said, please, we just want to write the news. And the lady said, I'm sorry, but I jumped in and said report, so maybe she would change her mind. And it worked. So we reopened the Smith Printers News Store. What a trade is and why is it important? A printer in colonial times printed out books, newspapers, pamphlets, and other publications. They write the news about what's going on in their town. For example, we now have television so we can see the news, but in colonial times, that was their news. What do printers produce? Printers produce books, newspapers, and information. Printers produce output devices that printed paper documents. Printers in their stores served mail centers. Tools needed: fonts, ink, pressing, and typesetting. What did printers need? Printers need to be patient because it took a while for a book, a newspaper, or even information to print. You need to have very good handwriting to write. You need to be able to read to print the books, newspaper, or information. Relationships. To make the news, you had to have paper. Printers relied on paper millers because paper millers made paper. Everybody relied on printers because without printers, no one would know the news. Artisans especially relied on printers because we made ink and they made ink for their art. What do printers wear? Girl printers wear long, loose shift, which is an underground. The sleeves were something removable and could be tied. A long gown, a skirt with a jacket, were worn as the outer clothes.
Boys wore, whether casual or formal, considered a birch, wore a skirt, a waistcoat, and a coat.
Colonial homes. Imagine you step back in time, in colonial time. Where would you live? Well, you would live in a small wooden house with only one room in it. That's called the keeping room. The keeping room had a bed, a table, and a fireplace. So imagine your entire house in one room. Crazy, right?
Food. In colonial times, people ate pork, beef, lamb, fish, shellfish, chicken, corn, beans, and vegetables, fruit, and numerous baked goods. People usually ate corn, pork, and beef in a lot of households. For breakfast, they drank mug of beer or cider, and they ate barnock or hoe cakes, bowl of porridge, cornmeal, pudding, and pie. People ate a lot of corn.
Laws and punishments. In colonial times, there's a lot of laws and punishments. One law was on Sunday, you couldn't kiss your mother or father. You couldn't even make your own bed. All you could do on Sunday was go to the Sabbath. The Sabbath was the church in colonial times. Here are some laws you had to follow in colonial times. 1. It was against the law for men to wear long hair and for them to smoke in the street. 2. It was against the law for a young man to date a young woman without her parents' permission. And 3. Another law was that a man could not kiss his wife in public.
The end.